So, I have a lot of people ask me this question while I'm at work all the time, and it's frustrating. So, I want to put this into information that is readily available to people. Um, people, it's funny because it's all different genres of music that you're working on, or but down and dirty when it comes down to the end mix, the end picture of your production that you're working on, or the song that you've written, or whatever you've compiled to put together, it's a separation of frequencies. 90% of the work that I do in the studio or when I'm working for bands, EQ, separating the frequencies that are desirable and the frequencies that are undesirable, the ones that are not appealing to my ears. Now, what I mean, when you track these, you say, oh no, I recorded it straight up, this is what I heard. Wrong. Incorrect. Your microphones are not going to pick up the same thing that you're hearing, actually. They run off magnets. You use digital converters into a preamp that converts your signal digitally to ones and zeros, and it reads that wave in your computer, and then that wave is played back to you. So mic position, mic placement, where it is in the room, because your ears are head level, stereo. You're hearing the depth of that room, and you're hearing all those subtle nuances. So you definitely have to try to capture that. But one of the biggest things, like I was saying, is EQing. EQing an acoustic guitar or a bass drum to fit that frequency in the right place that you want it, the right spot in that mix. You know, a good friend of mine once told me, says, it's like painting a picture, Corey. If you look at the canvas and you put all the colors in a one spot, it's what's going to happen? The paper is going to turn black. Nothing's spread out. There's no color. But if you separate all the colors, you can paint the rainbow. You can get the whole array of what's there and see the bigger picture. So that's one thing I really just want to put out there to people is, you know, your ears are ultimately going to make your decisions for you. I let my ears make my decisions. When I hear something, or when I don't hear something, or I need something, my ears are my decisions. Now, how I get to that end point, who knows? You know, I could, I'll tell you, I've done some really quirky, out-of-the-box things and plug-in chains that work. You know, they get the job done, they get me to that end result and that final mix down of that project. So it's, for me, it's super, super duper important to just take your time, separate everything, and you want to be able to hear every single instrument in that composition without anything be overbearing. It needs to have its own breath, its own musical earthiness to it, if you will. I don't really like music that's in the box. I think it sounds too perfect. It's too, put it to a click and a metronome. It takes a little bit of the organic, like, can you play this live thing out of it for me. I mean, yes, I'll sample, and yes, I'll bring in other things and synthetic sounds and incorporate it into a mix, but just a complete synthetic project for me is very little fun. I would much rather help track the audio and do the mic placement and start from the ground up on a production. And that's just my personal thing. But for me, I take a real pride in what I do, no matter what I'm working on. Whether it be, a shitty garage band or I'm working in the $200,000 room. I mean, at the end of the day, I always just let my ears make that decision for me, and whatever tools I have in front of me or whatever I have to get the job done, I can get the job done. It's just balancing out the tools that I'm going to use and the strategy I want to take. Anyway, I love talking about audio stuff. If any of you guys ever have any questions, or if there's something you'd like me to talk about audio related, please feel free to send me a message or drop a comment on the video, because for me, I could go on for hours. I could sit here for hours and tell you about how I would do this and how I would do that, and stereo miking techniques and Bloom pairs, and I could just go on and on and on and ramble. But I'd love to get some input from any of the audio guys that might possibly be watching this. Anyway, you guys have a good evening. I'm going to have a good evening. I'm going to get some work done in a little while. But definitely, like I said, you know, just so you know, anyone interested, I'm giving lessons in Logic. I'm giving mixing lessons as well, depending on whatever DAW that you're using. We can definitely work with it, and you know, if I don't know the DAW, I can definitely learn some of it beforehand, and you know, answer some general mixing questions and post-production questions if you guys have any. So anyway, this is probably the longest video I'm going to do for a little while. I'm going to try to keep them under 6 minutes for a while, because people's attention span, like mine, isn't that good, but I do understand that. So, like I said, any further questions? Gotta love that tobacco. Any more mixing questions, feel free to drop them at me. My email is coreycole540@gmail.com. Or you can send me a message and get my number and text me. And like I said, definitely, I enjoy good audio conversations. So whenever those are available, I will take them. Also, the other cool thing here is I'm contemplating with the idea I need to get internet back again. But I want to do Skype lessons. I want to do Skype seminars for mixing. I think this is a really ingenious way to mass communicate things across the board to other engineers and do something like that. But anyway, more to come. I'm signing out for the night. This is the last video that I am recording for the evening, and you guys have a great evening. I'm going to sleep soon.